right, ladies and some gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Who's
They,
Dating Now? I'm
not
your girl,
me.
Audrey Codner.
Hey, it's me, the marvelous Lisa Valera. Not feeling much better now. Y'all see my wine? Woo-hoo. Mm,
It is time to pop up, to drink up, to also listen to some more dating shenanigans. Just another
yeah.
evening, another night, but hey, we always got something to talk about. So,
And
how
I
was your week?
very uneventful. When I mean uneventful, like nothing was happening. I'm on two dating sites. And well, I'm now thinking elite singles. I did cancel. I think tomorrow's the last day. When I tell
Yeah.
you nothing, not a hit, I think I hit a dry spell. Okay, Cupid, same thing, just nothing, nothing at all. And I kind of changed my the distance because I put on there 100 miles from my home. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I was only matches were 100 to 110 miles from my house. So I said, well, let me
Okay.
try to narrow it down. And when I narrow it down, when I tell you the options were so few, I was like, damn, did I put myself on a clearance rack? What happened? What happened? So it's been really like, maybe I need to go back to the 100-mile thing and then see if I can get a conversation with somebody who may want to travel to come see me. I just want to know, anybody else has that problem? Like, is distance an issue for you? Now, for me, when I
Mm.
say long distance is like maybe like 500 miles. That's long distance. 100 miles, you may be, what's that, 2 hours? You can do it if you want to, but if it's the right person, you'll make it happen. You really can.
True.
But then again, I remember long ago, I met this one guy. I lived in Connecticut. He lived in Jersey. We met halfway. It was great. And then one day he goes, listen, I like you, but my finances just not there to, maintain this.
Right.
And, somebody may say, well, gosh, what was it like? Well, at the time he was a college student, semi-pro soccer player. He wasn't making
Mm.
that kind of money. He didn't,
Mm.
he was trying to get to that point. So I get it, you know, you want something a little bit closer. But then when you live somewhere like Texas, where everything is like, seems like if you're not right in the city and you're
Right.
like 15, maybe 20 minutes out, everybody's like, oh my God, you're so far. You're in a rural area. Dude, you live in Texas. Everything
Right.
is far. Let's just be real. Everything's far. So I want to talk about long distance. What's your thoughts? Can you do a long distance? Could you do 3 states away? I mean,
Did
let's
I?
ask you. Could
I
you?
did.
No way.
I'm like, I was in Maryland and I dated someone in Colorado. So
Mm.
that's over 5,000 miles.
Now, how
But
often
here's
were
the
you able to
thing.
get together?
What happened?
How often did the two of you get together?
4 times a year. And that was the thing. And then I end up marrying him.
No way. He was in
Yeah.
Colorado. Wow.
Yeah. So like literally we will see each other. The first time we saw each other was during the summer, hot. And then he would come during the fall. Then I would go for like Christmas and he would come back for spring break. And we did that for 2 years. Then he proposed in February, but we talked every day. But that's the thing. I didn't get to see because remember, I'm divorced now. So it's
Right.
not like, oh yeah, that's so wonderful. Yeah, no. Because there's a lot of things that you don't get to see because you're so far away. You don't see his little idiosyncrasies that happens,
Right.
like prime example. Why there's a laundry hamper, but you put the clothes next to the laundry hamper. put it in the laundry hamper. It's like, you got it. I can understand you didn't have it. You just want a spot and, but still, you're an adult. You're in your 50s. Like, let it go. Put it in the hamper.
Ah,
But a lot of those things weren't seen because we weren't near each other. So it's possible, but you're really going to have to be strong with the communication. Like, even if you're on the phone, like, this is during the time that Zoom wasn't a thing. We
right,
had Skype, but then Skype was always like, it was just like not consistent unless you're standing on one foot, and then you could be like, oh, okay, that works.
right,
Um, but it just seems like anybody can say whatever they want to say through text message, because we didn't have FaceTiming at that time.
right,
So, like, now there's more technology that you can actually see and talk to the person real time. And, as they're talking with their phone, you can kind of scan in the background, like, oh,
right. What is
what's
that
that
on the floor? What? Hold on. Is that a lizard? You said you had pets. You didn't tell me you had a freaking dragon in your house.
right?
And it's funny that you said that because when you go and visit someone, you're going to be on your best behavior. I mean,
Exactly.
my room is trash because I'm trying to go through all my clothes, what I can fit, what I can't fit, what I can. But I look at this and like, I would not let anybody come into my room. Just
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't do it. And being that I'm single, I'm like, I'll get to it and I get to it. What is it? You wash your clothes, you wash and dry in like an hour, but fold it and put away, it's like 5 to 7 business days. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. So, when you're dating and you see each other, like you said, for those 4 times a year, I mean, how many days did you get together? You know, I could be
Yeah.
really good for a week, really good for a
Yeah.
week. After that, then I think my own little thing starts to pop up. So you're right. Communication has got to be like on
Mm-hmm.
point at all times. You got to.
All the time.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, thank you. Because that's the whole thing. Because I make sure I stayed for like 10 days. Like, if I'm going to make a vacation of it, make it a vacation of it. Yeah, we're
Right,
getting to know each other. There's a little intimacy. And then plus with him, he had 2 kids from a prior marriage.
right.
But they were older. One was when we first started dating, one was a senior in high school, the other one was no, she was in the 8th grade, like going into the
Okay.
ninth grade. So it's like there was a transition. No, sorry. When we got married, he was a senior and she was a sophomore.
Mm,
So even after we got married, that still carried over,
right,
because now we got to think, are we going to move the youngest, who is in high school, to another state to finish her education?
right,
Or for me, you think of we're the adults. Let me keep doing
right.
this for 2 more
For the team.
years
Right.
so she can be with her friends and graduate and be a kid and all this other stuff.
So you guys kept
And
two
that's,
houses.
yep.
Wonderful.
After our wedding, it was like literally we had like a week for honeymoon, and then a week after, and then he went back to Colorado. So I was married, but I was in a long distance marriage now. So it's not
Right,
like, okay, now we're starting to build us. So those first 2 years, I still didn't have that.
right,
So the collaboration and the bonding. So there's a lot of things, because there's a lot of factors to think. If you're just 2 single people and you're just like, one's living in an apartment, the other one's living in a house, you got to think
right,
about that stuff too.
right.
Because the person in the house, can you move? Do you want to move? Like, who wants to move? Who wants to stay? It's a lot. It's a lot.
I give you a lot of credit and anybody else who could do those long distance relationships because my thing is, it's not just the intimacy for me, it's the trust. I would love to think I can trust you and I can I would love that. But once you give me that first sign that like make me go, when you go out of character, you know how you have that pattern, they call you
Mhm.
first thing in the morning or text you first thing in the morning. Then they might text you around lunch and I'll never forget when I saw this. One guy said, there was a time that you left work and you went to work. You didn't have those phone calls all through the day. And when you got home, you actually missed somebody. Now you over here, I just left the house and 10 minutes later, you texted me. You're not giving me a chance to miss you. And that
Right.
is so true. But on the other hand, even when you're having the communications, like, okay, we decide we're going to talk every day or FaceTime every day at 7 o'clock before we go to bed, right? Let
Mhm.
that be that one day that you don't call. And then you don't explain why you didn't call. Then you're like,
Yep.
okay, then the next morning you don't get the morning text. Now, what were you doing from last night at 7:45 and you just now texted me the next day at 11:30 a.m.? Oh, hold up. So you were busy. You can't tell me you were just sleeping. Can you get rid of how that could all go? So it's like, who else has that? And what tips can you give somebody on making a long distance relationship work? Do you honestly say, like, okay, we're not going to do that? Like, we're going to have a schedule, but we'll call when we call. We'll talk, we talk. Are you going to be okay with that? Or
Right.
are you going to have that schedule? Now, I don't know about you, but when I was married, I was laughing because at one point it seemed like the only time we were having sex was when we were planning on having sex. And I was like,
Mm.
did you just say you don't want to have sex with me today, maybe tomorrow? I didn't know I was on the menu. Like, we're going to have pizza on Wednesday and then tacos on Tuesday. No,
Yeah.
no, no.
Right. Right.
Did you ever find that when you were, I mean, I guess with the long distance thing, you get it when you get it. But when you finally got together, did you find that changed?
A lot of things changed. That was like, I want to say, the first thing, because I was working a lot, he wasn't. So I'm like taking most of the blunt of everything, like, the
Gotcha.
bills, the money and all that other fun stuff. So then when I'm damn near exhausted, don't come tapping on my door. Let's go. What? Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I want like that even amount of exhaustion. It's just like, all
Yes.
right, yes, but spontaneous, not like, oh, it's Thursday. I
Let
blew
them
it
get some.
Thursday.
Or
And
it's
you're
like,
like,
or you ain't had some in a couple of days. Damn, he's gonna ask me for something pretty soon. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. And I'm not
right,
ready. Now I gotta hype myself up to get ready. Oh,
right.
that's one thing about when you really get into the relationship part. But we're still talking about dating. So let me go right back to the long distance thing. Pros and cons of long distance relationships. Go.
Mm. Pro is
Mm-hmm.
that I still can able to do what I need to do. I know I just have to fixate like me 4 times a year or how many times a year to do what I need to do and say, okay, one other pro, I'm going to give two and then I'm going to come back to you. Another pro is that I get to, like you said, I get to miss you. I get to miss you and I get to get excited.
Yes.
What do you think is a pro for you?
Well, that was my first is the pro of getting excited of, I get to go and I'm going to leave my place. I'm going to travel and I love to travel. So, I get to travel somewhere. We get to meet up. It's all lovey dovey. I get to cuddle and all that. So for me, it's that being excited about seeing it. That's number one. Number two for me is having that opportunity to really pick at your brain face to face. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when you're on the phone, you know, you can get distracted by what's on the TV. You could be outside. Oh, there go the
Mm-hmm.
neighbors. Oh, wow, there's a squirrel. You can get constantly, distracted. But when you're face to face, I get to pick your brain. Now we can
Mm-hmm.
really start to talk about a lot of other things that we normally would not think of. And also, pro is the best sex, best sex life. I get to build that up. I only see you 4 times a year. I'm like, okay, let me make sure I don't have my period this week. Let's lie. It's that planning process is the pros about long distance.
That's true. Now,
Yeah.
a con is all the money I'm spending so I can get myself ready to go see you or they come see me. Because
Right.
nails, hair, getting a new dress because you got stuff in your closet, but you're like, let me get
Now,
something new. Underwear, come on now. We know we all got that matching set that we haven't dusted off in years, but we spent a good $75 for it at our VS and the perfume. And look, that stuff was expensive.
it was,
Just for them to
yes.
rip it off and throw it on the floor. Like, what? You better pick that bra up and
You
frame
better,
it.
hold on, you better not rip it either. Don't you rip nothing off me unless you plan on paying. Buy me another one. I mean, like the next day, you could do all that kiki stuff you want, but tomorrow we're going to go see Vicky and we're going to replace that.
Right.
So true. So
And
freaking
here's
true.
another one when you just need that person. You just like when you have those days, you're like, I can't pick myself up anymore. I just
Yes.
want to be held.
Yes.
I remember hearing when I said that to him one day, he sent in the mail, it was called a boyfriend pillow. Girl, it looks like half of a man with an arm. It had a blue shirt. And
Are
he
you
was like,
kidding
yeah,
me?
you can sleep with that.
Are you serious? They now you
Girl,
know
I
what?
got rid of that was the first thing I got rid of.
Oh, that would have got
Because
burned.
that thing was
That
just
would have got burned.
collecting dust somewhere in the closet.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, I was just having this conversation with my cousin. You know how it is when you meet somebody and if they're not up to your standards, you just can't stand them. Like, when we talk about virtual dating, I'll get into that about how there's this one person. He's seemed like he's a nice person. He works for a um cruise line and he was like, oh yeah, girl, all you gotta do is buy your plane ticket and everything else is paid for. Now, mind you, if I was attracted to him and into him, I'd be like, oh yeah, girl, I'm getting ready to go hit Seattle, going to Alaska, and be all excited. But because I'm not attracted to him, I'm like, oh God, you know. So if somebody had sent me that at first, oh look how cute, he sent me a little, body pillow, so I can pretend it's him. But then if it's somebody else, and we're like, what's this corny shit? What is this? What is this?
Right.
What do you want me to do with this? This is
Exactly.
supposed to help.
And it
I
took up like most of the bed. I'm trying to
right.
get it in frame. Like this plus this. Like, it was long. It was like basically the same, almost the same length as him. And I was like, this is just weird. I don't know. Why spend money on that?
So should I get you a blow up doll and just you could go and throw a wig on it and you could call it whatever you want. Now now that's another subject. Mind you, right that way. Another subject. Maybe not so much for dating, but I sure love to know how other people feel about that one. How do you
Mm.
feel about, okay, moving on. Here we go. Squirrel. Squirrel is a squirrel.
But
Now,
that's what
you know
it
what
is.
else is
Like the
annoying?
whole thing, long distance dating, it's just like one, you gotta get that communication. And just remember, it's not gonna be perfect. It's never gonna be perfect. You're gonna have some of your family and friends like, why are you dating someone in another state where there's plenty of men here? Because I'm like, the men here don't want me.
Well, that's the
So
thing. Oh, now there was one of my friends, she met her husband online, and he's originally from the Netherlands. Now he lived, I don't know if he lived in the same state though, but he went back often. Matter of fact, that's where their wedding was. And oh gosh, I wish I could have gone. But I said, why not have a conversation with somebody out of country? But then you got to worry. Do you only want me? Is this 90-day fiance kind of thing? And you only want the
Mm,
green card, or you want me to pay for you and your mama and your grandma and and your whole ancestors and everybody to come on over? How does
yep.
that work? I
You
mean,
tell me.
mind you, you see it on these reality shows, which cracks me up, beyond cracks me up. But it's like, unless I am that like that in making that kind of money with celebrity status, how is that going on too? I mean,
I mean, my whole thing, because 90 Day Fiance is my new obsession.
is
And
it?
I just feel like every time it's an American dating someone, it doesn't matter male or female, dating someone in another country. I always wanted to ask this question. Did you guys do your research on their culture? Like,
Right.
especially the ones that's going after the Muslim men. They
Yes.
are going to have their culture. There are different things. Don't sit here and assume, oh, he's going to come to the United States and love up on me. No, he's expecting
No.
you to be wifey
Change
there and
and
taking care
convert
of
to
the
his
family
style.
and live in those big community homes with
Exactly.
mom, uncle, auntie, all of them in there. You're not going to have your own stuff. So I'm always
Nope.
asking, like, did you guys do your research on what their culture is, or you was just assuming and you just was worried about
And they
what you
always
wanted to
have
worry
that
about?
episode where the woman is like crying, like, I don't understand. Why didn't you explain this to them? Heifer, why did you not read the manual? There's a manual for that. It's called
Yes.
like I said, research.
Mm-hmm.
Research that. Don't sit up there and think that you're gonna go over to an Indian country and have your boobs all out and think that mama ain't gonna look at you like you half crazy. I don't know. We look at you crazy here in America. You can't go over there looking like that. Stop it. Stop it. Don't sit there and do that. And it's or don't think you're going to get it with an African man and you're an African American woman and think he's going to treat you like the African American men. No, they have totally look at us differently.
Yep.
And they expect us to conform, to
Mm-hmm.
submit. Now,
Yes.
don't get me started talking about being submissive and conforming
Can't
to
do it.
somebody else's stuff. Mind you, I am a true Sagittarius. I am just as flighty and just as look at it's some pretty stuff, but don't tell me what I can't do. All of a sudden, I got a problem. I mean, I had a problem at first, but just because you told me I couldn't do it,
Right.
I really got a problem. Now I'm over here going, how good are you laying that pipe? Because if you ain't laying that pipe good enough, I'm definitely not conforming. Just saying. Not saying sex got to be everything, but can at
Right.
least be the top 5. Just saying.
So
And I'm
here's
going
my
to do
thing,
that.
and I think Jill Scott put it so well. I saw one of her memes. She said, "You can't tell me what to do unless you tell me what to do. But if you
Right.
tell me what to do, then you can tell me what to do." And what she was
Exactly.
talking about for all these people that I got to translate to is like, if you're not laying it straight, if you're not providing, if you're not supplying and I'm supplying back to you, we are going back and forth in a positivity type of way, then
Mm-hmm.
you can say, hey, Audrey, you're doing too much. Bring your ass to bed.
Okay.
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 But if
Mind you,
you're
we
going to
could.
be like, girl, bring your ass to bed, I'm like, oh, no,
Ooh,
whoa, killer. I need for you to check
back.
that
How
tone.
you say it? Back up. Back up. Back up.
Exactly.
Back up.
So that's
Attention.
what it's translated to. If you don't
Exactly.
understand, that's what we're saying. But
Because it is all about the delivery. And you know that you're marrying into a different culture, that
mm,
you really need to understand what that culture is about. And
yep,
there's a lot of beautiful Arabic men out there. They're gorgeous, but just remember, you're not going to be able to sit in the same room with him and his friends in their country. Now,
right.
maybe when you're here, you're sitting there, you entertaining everybody and everybody's free and talking what to do. You're not going to do that over there. Just
Exactly.
saying.
That's done.
Just saying. And it's funny because I don't know why the Big Bang Theory came into my head, but when Raj is looking for his, who is she? Is she? And it's all broken. It really is hilarious. It's hilarious with the whole arranged marriage and where she came from and who her family was and all that is
Yep.
still going on. You have to remember.
Yes.
And there's a lot of good men out there that are international. But you got to, again, that takes the whole long distance thing to a whole nother level. Because now you're talking about simply time zones. I'm in Central Time Zone. You're in Eastern.
Right.
That's just an hour.
Yep.
Try doing that 6 hours when you're waking up in the middle of the night. Now that goes back to people dating someone in the military when they're stationed in Kuwait or wherever, and he can only call you between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Women will sit there and take that nap, set that alarm, and be up to wait for that phone call. And I hear you. I've done it and was happy for it. You know what I'm saying? But when we're talking about here in the States, it's like, really, how far will you go for a long distance relationship? And, drop that in the comments. I'm dying to find out. We need to find out who is really watching our podcast, because I'm spilling a whole lot of tea here and I need to know who else is feeling it with me. I need to know this. And what wine are you drinking? Oh, so today, this is a beautiful red blend called Crush. If you know Apothic, they have Apothic Red, Dark, they have a Merlot. This one is a whiskey barreled wine, and it sat for 30 days. So you get a hint of the whiskey in this nice, beautiful red blend. Has some great blackberries smells, a nice. I'm trying to see if I can get y'all to see that color there. But most of all, can you see those legs? The better the leg, probably not this time, but the better the leg, better the alcohol volume. Just saying. I like to call it the Tina Turner legs, but that's me personally, because her legs were for sure for what, $1 million? Woo,
right.
Yes, Lord. That's how I like this wine. It's very good. And a bottle of the Apothic, I believe it's called Apothic Crush, or like I said, it's a red blend. It runs about between $12 and $15. Not that much. Very good. Goes great with chocolate. Goes great with salsa. If you like spicy salsa, this is a nice one. It smooths it out. So whenever you have one, pour your glass. Make sure you let your glass, don't have to fill it all up. Now, when I'm having a bad day, I promise you, Lisa has a full glass, and I'm like this. But normally you only do like a half glass because you want your wine to breathe. The more it breathes, the better it tastes. But get this, and what you do is you get your favorite spicy salsa, guacamole, even hummus. Get it on a nice cracker. But I want you to sip your wine first, then bite into your salsa, because I want you to see how your wine changes with the taste. Y'all let me know how that works out for you. And
see, didn't know that.
Your wine tip for the evening. Cheers.
Cheers. See, I like that. And we're definitely going to be doing a lot more of these, because I noticed a lot of people, when they're doing dates, they're usually doing either a dinner date or they're meeting at a bar, or they always have some kind of wine. And a lot of people are not connoisseurs, and we have no idea. We just know white, rosé, and red. So we don't know that different blends and what will go with different types of foods. So this is just going to be a little add-on to kind of help you guys out with, you want to seem all fancy when you finally have that one dinner date that comes to your home.
Or just laugh at me that I'm sitting here just drinking the whole time of our podcast. But why not? I'm at home.
Why not?
Why not? And if you want to try something else, if you want me to talk about something else, a different type of wine or a different kind of, alcohol, like maybe an old fashioned, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Would love to try it out with y'all. And then we can all have our glass together. This is awesome. So going back to long distance,
Mm-hmm.
you hear a lot of, success stories or not so successful. But if you could change anything, what would you have changed?
I would have asked better questions.
Like
I
what?
think I got more so into the whole what's your color, what's your favorite song, like just simple generic questions. And that's what I based a lot of those answers to, which kind of like, oh, he's really nice. And oh, he likes the same ice cream as me. And oh, okay, we listen to the same music. And you just get so caught up in that. But like I felt like I nearly needed to ask more questions about your finances, about your relationship with your family. How what do you really do when I'm not around? Like those are some type of things that I know I would have done differently and maybe will be a little, I don't want to say a little more aggressive. I would be less aggressive. I feel like I want to be more of a lady than
Okay,
because I felt like I was the hermaphrodite of the relationship. Like I was a man and a woman. And
gotcha.
it's
Did
exhausting
you
because
feel
then
like
it's exhausting and confusing. Go ahead.
did you feel like you were almost like raising him?
Yes, I had a child without having a child. Yes.
Gotcha.
And
Because
he'll
I
even
know,
say that he felt like he was a 12-year-old living in a 50-something-year-old body. And I'm like, but I didn't fall in love with a 12-year-old. I don't want a
right.
12-year-old.
I know, being that I was a single mother for a while, it was so exhausting that when I literally prayed for my husband, I said it just like this. I just want to be a girl. I want to get my hair done. I want to get my nails done. I want to go to Victoria's Secret and buy pretty lingerie. Because when you're doing everything, when you're the single mom doing everything, you don't think about those things. Like, God, if I go out wearing a matching panty and bra set, that doesn't mean I'm getting me some. I know it for a fact. It's just, but when you're in it and you're like, listen, I gotta get changed, I gotta get the kids going, I gotta get the house going, this and that, you don't care. So if you are
Right.
always doing that and then a guy is very comfortable with that because
Yeah.
he likes it where he's being catered to or he's being taken care of, he doesn't
Yep.
care, you lose that. You lose that. So yes, asking those questions, I totally agree. Even in any relationship, honestly. And that's why I kind of love those cards, those conversation cards they have out now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really like, I highly recommend buying those because when you're having that glass of wine and you want to know a little bit more, like, no, really, how is your relationship with your mother?
Right.
Because a guy told me if a guy does not have a good relationship with his mother, he's not going to have a good relationship with you.
No.
And if a girl doesn't have a
No.
good relationship with her father, you're going to get daddy issues and you're
Yeah.
not going to have the best. So, it really does make sense to ask those questions because when I was dating eons gone, when the first two times I got married, I wasn't even thinking about asking those type of questions. I just literally was young and dumb. So when I got married this last time, because I am going to get married again, y'all. Watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you. Um, I did. I prayed. I prayed for a man that's going to love me like he loves his mother. Now, be careful for what you pray for. You might just get that. He loved the snot out of me, but he loved the snot out of his mama too. So me, him, and his mama was sitting there watching TV together. And I'm like, what are we doing every night? Uh-huh. Like, okay, well, mom likes this television show. I'm like, oh my God. careful what you ask for. Be careful. Mind you, I love my mother-in-law though. She was funny. She was cool. She was hilarious. She was
Oh,
annoying, but so am I. I really do feel at one point he married a version of his mother.
yeah,
It
they
is what it
do.
is.
They try.
That's what you're attracted to
They
at the end of
try.
the day. They do.
And you're
They do.
trying to go find something like your father. If your father was a loving, supportive husband to your
Yes.
mother, you're like, I want to find someone like my dad
Because that's
that
what
does
you
this and that.
because that's what you know. And that's what you've
Right.
seen. So you
Right.
want that. Or you want someone that's not like your father because you've seen how horrible he was. And you know
Hmm.
that's not what I want. But so you know what you don't want, but do you
Right.
really truly know what you do want? But you got to build on it from somewhere.
Exactly. And you got to be real. You got to be truthful. Like, don't just get like, okay, let me see if I can adjust myself to what he likes so I can conform to the situation because you're not going to be happy. And then if he tries to conform to how you are, he's not going to be happy. So it's almost like be real, be truthful. Like,
And
maybe
that's
not
when
as completely raw on day one. Like, I
but
live in a van by the river.
hold on. I have a
I have
school bus.
5 kids and they don't live with me, but I got another girl who's got a baby by me and that's due in like a couple of months. So let's link up. Um, I'm so grateful for your truth. Yeah, I'm out.
And And the thing about that, especially in long distance relationships, I feel those questions need to be asked up front more so than if you're dating somebody locally. Like, really, because locally you have a little bit more time that you can ask those questions. But if you are trying to date somebody 5 states away, hold up. Really, I need to know what's your
Right.
relationship with your baby mama? Like, is it a good relationship? Do you guys communicate? Have you told her you were trying to seriously date?
Right.
Those questions need to be seriously more upfront. Now, some guys may not like that. Be like, oh, slow down. I'm just trying to get to know you. No, you live in another state, sir.
Right.
You live in
Right.
another country. If you really want to get to know me, this is what I need to know because I'm not going to, we're at that age. Time is precious. I don't need
Hmm.
to waste your time and my time by
Exactly.
trying, you know. Now, maybe on another, maybe next week we could talk about this. It's like when you're doing online dating. Now it is dating, so you're going to be talking to several different men. I would think. Some people
Hmm.
just think, well, if I really like this one person, I'm just going to talk to this one person. But my point is, it's not everybody has that same mindset, and a lot of men, which I've heard a few say, I got so many choices. Like, how do
Wow.
you do that? It could be complicated, hence why we're doing this podcast. But when you start talking to somebody who lives in another state and they give you that vibe of, oh, we're moving too fast, look, I'm not trying to bullshit nobody. If I got to take a plane to come see you and I have to
Mm.
pay over $500 to come see you because I don't fly Spirit, that's just Lisa. But anyway, I'm just saying this. We're going to ask some questions because I
Right.
don't want to come out to your state and you didn't tell homegirl who lived five, next town over that I'm coming through and she's going to pop up. I don't want drama. We got to have those
Exactly.
conversations. Tell her,
Exactly.
because you never know who you're going to be inviting to your house. Who might be bringing, you thought you didn't have no drama until the chick starts knocking on your window at 4 o'clock in the morning. Handle it,
Mm.
sir. As I said.
Right.
I said
And
what I
are you
said.
still having some kind of connection with each other other than the kids? Do you still have a little kindling? And it's almost like you can sense as you the person coming in, you can sense you're like, I feel like I'm like the third wheel or I'm not number one. Like I
Oh,
feel like if I'm
please.
in the relationship, I should be number one. I understand you got kids. If you have kids, I know you have to take care of kids and you have to be responsible. I got you
Right.
because that's your responsibility. but let me be in that mix. And maybe that's me being selfish, because that's why when some people say they have kids and they got younger kids, when they're older, I know you're in college, you're doing this. All right, you're living your life. You're going to pop in and pop out. Dad's going to take care
Right.
of blah, blah, blah. I get it. But when they have younger kids, they're basically looking for like almost like a stepmama or like a friend
And
for
you
their
know what?
kid. And
And a
I'm
lot of
like,
times, and I don't know if you have read this or not, Audrey, but when you read the guy says, I'm not looking for a
mm-hmm,
mom for my kids, I take care of my own kids. That's a little flag for me because you say that. Why would
mm-hmm,
you put that in a profile? Because to me, you kind of are looking, because if I'm going to be involved with you, I'm going to be a mom, like a mother figure. I'm not going to be the child's mother, but I'm going to be a
right,
mother figure. If everything goes well, yes, guess what my title is? I'm the stepmom. I'm the other mother. Okay.
right,
Or, you always want to put your positive stuff out there, but don't say that you're not looking for someone, because you are. You're going to be looking for someone who's going to be compatible with not only you, but your children. And you're going to have to be seriously on the same level with your morals and values, equally
right.
yoked. And I
Yep.
mean, a lot of people who are not religious, like, what do you mean by that? No, seriously, you got to be on the same playing field all around. And if the person that you're with does not have a good relationship with their baby mama or whatever the situation is,
Mm, don't
that's an
move on.
uphill battle. Been
Right.
there, been there. And it's frustrating, especially when you're putting your best self first. But
Exactly.
again, we're talking about the long distance relationships.
Hmm.
Love to hear about your pros and cons, what you
Hmm.
won't do. Like, I'm going to throw this out here. Audrey, tell me if you agree on this one. Who
Okay.
pays for the first? Who pays for the first trip, and who comes out first? You or him?
And that's where I think I made my mistake. I went first. I think he should come first.
Okay.
I
But why
think,
would you think that's a
and
mistake? Because honestly, would you have not seen Colorado if it wasn't for him?
I mean, I'm going there. At least I went there to see the home, but I knew he was cleaning because he told me, "Oh yeah, I'm cleaning this and cleaning that and da 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 da." But I almost like wanted to see on the natural habitat. So the second trip that I went, I saw it in the natural habitat, and I'm like, "Dude, you didn't know I was coming? Like, oh, you're already comfortable." But sometimes it seems like maybe I'll take my answer back. It's almost like a conversation. I feel like it's a conversation between the two. Um, Depending on how far, depending on how much, if it's like if one is traveling farther than the other,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be kind of nice to say, hey, all right, how much is your ticket? And when you said 600 or 500, oh girl, no, like about 800 to $1,000. That's like round trip because you have to
Right.
come back.
Right.
Um, and layovers, and the longer the layover, the cheaper the ticket,
Oh,
and you're
you're
in
spending the
like you're
all
going
day.
over to California to come back to Arizona just to go to
Exactly.
Colorado. I'm like, can't we just go from here to Denver to where I need to be, and then that's it? But then those small planes, because you're in a different area, you got the bigger planes going to Denver, and then yeah, nightmares. Hate airports because of all that. Um, but when it comes to the decision, I think it really should be a communication. I really do. And if one wants to pay for part of one, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Oh,
Or
not
one's
at all.
paying for, yeah, one's paying for the flight, the other one's paying for the entertainment, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
discussion. Don't assume at all, because then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, well, he didn't pay for this and I paid for that, and da-da-da. Then you're doing tit for
Now,
tat,
now
tit
you're
for
caught up
tat.
in those feelings. Now you got that whole resentment going on that he didn't put
Exactly.
his part in communication. But the reason why I asked that question is because I like to travel. Now,
Okay.
somebody would say, well, have him come because it's your safety. What if you get out there and something happens? Well, what if something happens if he came here? I'm, you know, I'm having him come here and, I can't get him out of my house or I can't get him out of the hotel room or something like that. It goes both ways. I
Mm-hmm.
just guess for me personally, like you said, it's all about the communication and all about having that talk and feeling that part out. So, when you're going to do a long distance relationship, somebody's going to have to come out first. Who is it going to
Yep.
be? It's going to be you or it's going to be him. And if it's you, is he paying for it? I had a guy fly me out, had a great time, awesome time. And it was really, because we had that conversation, but then we had built something up before then. And also, how long would it take you to make that decision to want to go see somebody?
Right.
You know,
Ooh. Yeah.
you're
It
FaceTiming
took
them, you're
us.
talking. Did it take y'all a minute before you did that, right? Would you say more
Yeah.
than 3 months?
I'm trying to think because that was a while ago. So I'm trying to think maybe like 3, 4 months. Well, plus I
Okay.
was teaching in the classroom, so it wasn't like, all
Wasn't
right,
that
let me
easy?
just go and just leave. So it's always like, let me see. I think it was because I wanted to do it during the summer after I was teaching summer school or something, which
Gotcha.
was in August, and everyone knows it was. I never knew. No, 9 o'clock, and then it's 105. And then going to visit in the winter, they say, "Oh well, the weather is -23, and it feels like what? Rewind.
It
What?"
feels
And
like
so
what?
I
You
was the
said
person
negative?
yelling.
Oh yes, that makes a whole difference. Makes a whole difference. It's hilarious. I love it. I freaking
Man,
love
I'm
it.
like, no. So when it all comes to that, sometimes I don't mind having that conversation. It was cute in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but it really is. I like everything about long distance relationships. Where are you guys going to stay? Just like how you said, are we going to stay at his house? Does he have roommates? Does he live with his parents? Because sometimes you don't have those conversations. Everyone's assuming that everybody is single and they have their own stuff. All of a sudden, you show up and he's got like 3 roommates. Where are you going to stay?
Am I on the couch? Or we staying in? Where do you sleep?
Right. And if we're in there, I don't want the other 3 roommates to be like, "Oh, she free." Like
Hold up. Did you tell them? Did you tell them?
right. Well, sometimes they do. I mean, like especially if you have someone in younger, like in the 20s or early
Right,
30s, they
right,
usually have like roommates. There's always three or
right.
four roommates and all that stuff. But then depending if they're older, because there are some people that are had to move back in with mom, especially like people that were
True.
divorced.
Right.
They're moving back in with the parents. So
And
it's
you're
like
seeing
you
that
can't say you still with your mom. Like,
and you're seeing that more and more. And be honest with you, it's economically makes sense. If you had to give up the house, you now have, alimony and child support, you may not be able to, you know, have your own place. Maybe you are living in the in-law apartment with your parents, you can't always say if you living with your mom and you a scrub, let's
right.
and if you remember during COVID, a lot of people made a lot of changes because
Mhm.
they just couldn't handle that. So that's a great point about long distance, like how you living and
How you really?
how you really be living though, not really do. Are you one of those people that chew with your mouth open?
I can't do
I'm
that.
sorry,
Come on now.
you don't catch that on the first 2, 3 dates,
Oh
huh?
no, they will be all prim and proper, just cutting a little triangle of meat. putting in their mouth, savoring, and then,
And then
oh,
you get
how
that
is
one
your
time.
feel? Oh, I'm so full. Yes, this is so filling. Knowing that you're gonna go home and order yourself a pizza, inhale the whole damn
Whole
thing.
thing. Listen, that's the thing about me. I will tell you in a minute. Don't get me in. I'm an emotional eater too. If I'm having a bad moment or a bad day, sister will go get her a damn medium pizza, sausage, pepperoni, mushrooms, extra cheese. Don't ask me for a slice. Don't even look like you want to sniff my pizza. I'm gonna bite your hand off like a grizzly bear. Just saying. And then go, are you okay? Don't worry about it. Put a band-aid on it. You be good.
Right? You're fine. You're okay.
You're fine.
But
But
it's
like,
true. Like when you go, and we're sitting here talking about long distance, but at the same time, there's some underlining stuff. Like when you do have that first date. And I'm not
yeah,
sure if we should save that for the next time or the time after that or some other time. But it is kind of like everyone that first 2 months everybody is on there. Oh, yes, this is an old outfit. Knowing that you still got the tag on it, girl, you about to take it back to the store at the end. Oh, no, these shoes, I've had them for years. It's still got the tag on the bottom. Like you walk and it's like tag, tag, tag. You're it. So, because you're like, oh, I don't want
exactly.
to walk too far because my feet hurt. No, because you don't want to
Right.
mess up the bottom of the shoes because you got to take it back to the store. So, let's be real.
And I tell you what, don't be one of those people like I've never done that. We've all done it at one point or another.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Because we just always want to show our best side, and that's
Always
good.
want to
But we
forward.
all know we have our bad sides. And it's okay to say, you know what? After
I
maybe not
don't
on the
do that.
first date because you don't want to do all that crap. So you don't want to chase them all. But you definitely want to do something within that first month. Like,
Yep.
don't keep because you're not gonna be happy. Oh, but he's cute. Okay. He murdered 5 people. And it wasn't on an accident. Like he went back into the
You
place,
went
you
to the
know. So
whole murdering 5 people. I'm sitting up there like, dude, you haven't showered in 3 days.
like
You
the
hold
evidence is
on. You
right here.
smell like the outdoors. Why do you smell like the outdoors?
Right.
You know, do you need that
And
extra strong deodorant? You know, I mean, it happens. It happens.
right.
We all been there. I'm just saying.
I know.
You
I
know, girl,
know.
the
But
cuckoo
everyone
smell.
needs love. Everyone's searching for
Everybody.
love. Everyone's leaving love,
Everyone
but
deserves love.
at
Everyone deserves
least
it.
know where your boundaries are. Know where your boundaries are. And don't worry about like, oh, that's making me look foo-foo. We're not worried about that.
Not at
Because
all.
if it doesn't bite you in the ass the first 2 months, it's gonna bite you later on down the
Later
line.
on.
And all of a
And then
sudden
you'd
it's
be
just gonna
like,
come out of nowhere.
and somebody said, you didn't see that red flag? Oh, it was a pretty red flag. It was a beautiful red with a hint of white. You know, let's just be honest. We've been there.
Ridiculous. Don't trip.
That part, they laid the
We haven't
flag
had
so
for a
darn
while. All of
well.
a sudden we got to. We're like,
The,
everything
the,
is
the
great.
flags look like we're at a roller coaster, Six Flags amusement park.
Let's be real
We're gonna
because
wrap
that's
this
what's
one up.
happening. And the same thing happened on the other end. If you're male or female, whatever the opposite sex or whatever that sex you're into, look,
Look,
that's when you are all hypnotized, mesmerized. You have, ooh, she's got this and he's got that and all this
yeah.
stuff.
Oh
And
my
ooh,
god!
this is fun.
And then 3 months
Yeah.
later, you're like, huh? How come I didn't see that? And then you start to rewind the tape. That shit showed up on the damn second date. Just saying. But
Yep.
listen, we out of here. Hope you had a
Yes.
great. Hope we were able to pique your interest about long distance dating and relationships. Again, looking for your feedback. You know, pros and cons. Again, I'm being adventurous. I would love to meet somebody from another country. I just don't know what country yet. You know,
Okay.
like, am I going to do England, Italian, Africa, go back to the motherland? Yes. You know, but
You don't have to go back to the motherland. Go back to the
going back,
motherland. Look, just go down the
kinda.
street. He right there. Going back to the motherland.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But you guys give us some feedback. Audrey and I would love to hear from you guys. Hopefully, you're enjoying this as much as we are. And yeah, this is a good one. It's really helping me enjoy the conversation a little bit more. So here I am, the marvelous Lisa Valera signing off.
Yes. So take care, guys, and please keep coming back for another episode of Who's Dating Now. Again, I'm Audrey Codner, and we have Miss Lisa. So we're going to talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Peace out. Bye bye.